Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Today's instructor is Russ Siegel. He is the Executive Director of the Sequoia Fund. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that if you look under today's presentation, there is a box that says Files. I will be talking about this a little bit more in just a second, but if you would like, you can go ahead and download that worksheet, which is number 2. Because Russ is going to be using it later on in today's presentation. So if you just want to take the time to go ahead and download it or print it while I'm doing the introduction, that is completely fine. So my name is Alyssa Atkins, and today I am your webinar facilitator. I am the Training and Development Coordinator for the Native Learning Center. Just a quick disclaimer, this webinar provides a summary of fundamental concepts, requirements, and/or procedures within the allotted 90 minutes. The material discussed does not illustrate all possible scenarios that could be applicable. The materials are protected by copyright, trademark, trade secret, and other intellectual property laws and treaties. The terms permit you to use the sites for personal, non-commercial use only. You may print or save copies of the site solely for your personal and non-commercial use. You may not distribute, transfer, transmit, copy, upload, download, post, publish, display, perform, modify, or otherwise create derivative work from any of the materials without the Seminole Tribe's prior written consent. And now I'm going to show you how to interact during today's presentation. If you look at the top of your screen, you're going to see a little hand. With that hand, you can either raise hand, agree, disagree, applaud, laugh, or step away. Now, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see a box that says Files. Here you will find any handout, such as the worksheet that I mentioned earlier. Please feel free to download a copy for yourself. Simply click the item you would like to download, then click the arrow pointing downwards to download and save onto your device. Once the item is downloaded, it should appear in your device's download section. The second box labeled Web Links is where you will find our survey about today's webinar, along with the link to join our email list and any other links that will be seen throughout today's presentation. Finally, to the right of the screen, we have a chat box available. This is how you will communicate with the instructor and NLC staff. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to interact by using the chat box. Simply type your message and hit enter or click that up arrow icon button to submit. Tech support issues should also be submitted here. Know that most can be solved by exiting and re-entering the meeting room. Let's all try out the chat box together now by typing in your name, where you're joining us from, and your tribal affiliation. And if I haven't mentioned it earlier, today's webinar is being recorded. And with that being said, I would now like to introduce Russ Siegel.
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I see some folks here from Alaska. Fantastic. Be interested to see where everybody else is from. I see some folks typing. Glad to have you with us. I am going to try to make this a fun hour and a half and not an hour and a half of just me coughing. So if I sound a little muffled, I do have a cough drop in my mouth. I want to make sure that we can get through all of this. And if you haven't already, please do consider going ahead and downloading that participant worksheet. We're going to use this throughout. It's not necessary. We'll have some good stuff, and you do have a lot of different ways to access this information going forward. So after we're done today, of course, this is recorded. You can download the PDF version, so you'll have all the slides. No need to take screenshots. No need to use your camera to shoot pictures of your computer screen or anything like that. You'll have all of the slides available to you and all the information there. Some of these are pretty content rich, so I want you to make sure you have access to these. You can refer back to these. A lot of these are going to be lists that you can use. But the main thing is we're going to be working with this worksheet today. So who am I and why should you care about what I have to say? So I've been doing this for about 25 years. I've been helping businesses grow. I've been helping businesses get started. And I have seen almost every mistake possible. So hopefully today you'll not only get the benefit of some of the good things I've seen, but also you'll have the benefit of some of the mistakes I've made myself and I've seen others make so that you can avoid those same mistakes. We have a short agenda, but we have a short amount of time. As Jerry Reed sang in the theme song to Smokey and the Bandit, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So today we're going to be talking about your big why. There's got to be a reason why you want to do this, and we'll identify that. We'll talk about what to do and what to avoid. Again, sometimes your success hinges as much on what you don't do as it does on what you do. We'll talk about available resources. I've divided your resources into 3 different categories. And if you're going to get started in a business, you want to make sure that you're taking from all 3 of those categories and pulling resources, but you also have some internal resources that we all share in varying degrees and different amounts, but we all have these resources available to us. We're going to hone in on what you're good at. I'm a firm believer that you cannot build a business on a weakness. You can't say, well, the best way for me to learn how to be an accountant is to open an accounting firm. Well, you will have to learn a lot of accounting very quickly, but it's not going to make you a good accountant. It's not the same as immersing yourself in a language and a culture. If you want to move to Italy and learn how to speak Italian, then you're going to learn pretty quickly how to speak Italian, or you're just not going to get along. Starting a business is not necessarily the same thing. You don't want to be on a learning curve at the same time you're trying to make money and build your business. We'll also talk about why now is the best time. And I'm probably going to say this a few other times throughout the day. Now is the best time to start a small business. We'll talk about hot trends that are going to be hot throughout 2024, but they're also going to be hot trends beyond 2024. I don't want anybody jumping on the fad wagon where it's just going to be this flash in the pan, here today, gone tomorrow thing. I'm not going to be teaching you how to sell Beanie Babies on eBay. Wow. I think I just dated myself there. Flashback to about 1996, 1997, 98. But you notice there's a little gray in the beard, so that's going to happen from time to time. But I'll tell you about why this is the best time to start a small business, and really throughout history, some of the best businesses have been started in economic downturns, heavy inflation, economic recession, and even during the Great Depression. So bad economic conditions are not necessarily a game stopper for people who want to start great businesses. It's an opportunity, I think. So while everybody else is hunkering down and pulling back and saying, wow, inflation's still high, interest rates are still high, I can't borrow money, now's the time to jump in. And we're going to talk about planning for success. I'm going to give you just a little bit about business planning. Today is not the day we're going to dive into this. I do an hour and a half of business planning. I actually have an all-day course on business planning. This is not it. We're going to touch just a little bit on it, but at the end, I'm going to give you a link so that you can go grab a free business plan template. It's a fill-in-the-blank template, super easy to use, and it's something that you can start with today to start dumping all of that information out of your head onto paper. I'm a big believer that once begun is half done. And if you can just have maybe not something that you would want to take to the bank and ask for money with this tool, but it's certainly going to get you started. And it's going to make business planning a lot less scary. First, I have a couple of disclaimers, though. Number one, we're talking about how to say, I'm getting a message here that somebody's having trouble hearing me. Can everyone hear me? Is everyone hearing okay?
I can hear you, Russ, and I will work on fixing their sound for them.
Okay. I just want to make sure this is not a widespread thing here. Okay, great. Getting some yeses. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to be talking about businesses to start this weekend. By my calculation, if I just assume that you're going to take the rest of the day off and nobody's going to start today, we're going to have 5 days between now and next Monday where you can use this time to start a small business. Now, what are you not going to be able to do in that amount of time? You're probably not going to be able to go out and buy a dry cleaner. You're probably not going to buy a car wash. You're probably not going to start the next Microsoft or Facebook. Maybe you will. I don't know. Prove me wrong. That would be awesome. But the businesses that people can start in a short amount of time are what we're going to be talking about. These are going to be low involvement, low capital businesses. These are going to be businesses that you can take your strengths and your abilities, and you're going to put them to work right now, so that by next Monday, certainly by this time next week, you could have a small business up and running. You could start making some money. So we're not talking about the big businesses. There's a time and place for that. But the other disclaimer that I'm going to make here is I am not going to tell you what business you should start. If you came to this webinar hoping that I'm going to give you just a list of businesses, here, go do this, 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 you might be disappointed. And the reason is couple reasons. Number one, if it fails, you're going to blame me. If I say go start a cat bathing business and you're going to go wash cats in people's homes, you're probably not going to have a lot of success with that. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but you're probably going to fail, and then you're going to blame me. And I'm pretty easy to find. So I don't want people hunting me down saying, hey, Russ, you're the reason I lost all my life savings. You told me to do this business, and now you've failed. I am, however, going to give you some specific areas where you can excel. And that's where we're going to get to. But we're going to start at the big end of the funnel. And that is, what is your why? What's your why? Why do you want to start a business? And I've got here on the screen, don't say money. The reason we don't want to say money, and a lot of people say, well, I'm going to start a business because I need to make more money. I need money. I need to pay off my college loans. I need to pay down my mortgage. I need to get out of debt. I've got a lot of credit card debt. I need to start a business to get money. I need money. If money is your target, if money is your end all be all, you're probably going to be let down pretty quickly and pretty hard. Money is a way to keep score. Money is your scorecard in a small business. It is not your why. There's got to be some other reason for you to get up every day and do this, whether this is your full-time job, if you're going to retire and start your own business, or if you're tired of working for your boss and you're going to do this on your own and you're going to start your own business, or if you're just interested in starting a side hustle, something to help you earn some extra income. Even then, money can't be your why. There's got to be something that motivates you to get up off the couch, get up out of bed, and do this on a regular basis. Money, according to psychologists, is what's called a hygiene factor. If we have enough clean air to breathe, having more clean air, having direct access to pure oxygen is not really going to motivate us to breathe differently or breathe better. We've got enough air. We're fine. We don't think about it after a certain point. The same thing with water. Once we have enough clean water to drink, we don't really think about water as being a motivator. At some point, having clean water stops being a motivator. Once we've got the well dug, we don't need to go out and dig another well. Money is the same way. Once we have enough, and enough is really defined by you, but whatever enough is, once you have enough, having more doesn't motivate you. If you are working in a boring business, if you're working in something that is driving you crazy and you just don't love it and you wish you could do something else, having more money is not really going to make you more excited about doing that thing that you don't really like. Now, the key to having a business here is that you actually work for a boss you enjoy. Most people who I have seen over the years, they leave a job where they're maybe not crazy about the boss, or they're not crazy about the way things are done around here, those kinds of things. They start a business and they realize that their new boss is even worse. And now, because they have to make money, because they have to put food on the table and they have to pay bills, they can't quit. Who gets your letter of resignation? You can't just walk into the mirror in the bathroom in the morning and say, take this job and shove it. You could, but then what? You still have responsibilities. So there's got to be something bigger than money. So in your worksheet, the very first thing that we're going to look at is I want you to list out a few things that are motivators for you. Why do you want to do this? And what does this mean for you? I've given you a couple of examples here. One is I want to have more time. I want to work for me so that I can have more time. What does more time mean? Well, I want to be able to attend my kids' ball games. I don't want to ever have to miss another school function. I don't want to ever have to miss another whatever. I want to set my own schedule. Okay, that's a pretty big why. Let's just say for the moment that you can't get past money. Money is your motivator. You need more money. A couple things. Number one, starting a business is not the way to pull your financial ox out of a ditch. I'm going to say that again. It is not the way to save yourself financially. I have a lot of folks who come into to Sequoia Fund and they say, well, I need a loan. I'm about to lose my home. I've lost my job. I'm desperate. I don't know what else to do. I'm going to start a business. That is the absolute worst thing. That's like, it's almost the worst scenario I can think of. Because now we're going to take your known situation, which is really bad, and we're going to put you into an even worse unknown situation. So starting a business is kind of like deciding that you're going to get in shape by running a marathon. I wouldn't recommend that. But if you can't get past money, think about what you need that money to do. Okay, I'm in debt. I need to pay off some student loans. I need to pay down the mortgage on my house. If you did that, what would that mean? Okay, that means less financial stress in my family. That means we're arguing about money less over the dinner table. That means we stop arguing about money altogether. So while money isn't necessarily a motivator, if you can't get past the idea of I need more money, think about what that money's going to do for you. What do you want it to do? Once you've got your big why, now it's time to start taking stock of you. There are things about you that make you uniquely qualified, uniquely capable, uniquely positioned to do these things that you want to do or this thing that you want to do. And I'm a firm believer that you need to do what you love and avoid what you hate. If you're going to start a business and you don't like conflict, well, one of the businesses you probably don't want to start is a repossession business. Collateral recovery is stressful. Having to go out and take someone's big screen TV, having to take their car, having to take their boat, their RV, repossessing things is stressful. I can't think of a world where I would say, you know, I really don't like conflict, but I think I'm going to do this because it's pretty good money. Because after a very short amount of time, you're going to hate it. We need to focus on the things that we want to do. We're going to call this the red velvet rope policy. If your business were an exclusive club, who are the people who get to come beyond the red velvet rope? Who are the people you're going to let in the door? They're going to be the people who energize you. They're going to be the people who stimulate you and give you joy, and you can't wait to be around them every day. These are the people you want to be around, and you're going to make sure that the people who don't bring you joy, who don't stimulate you, or who stimulate you in a negative way, in other words, they bring you stress, they're going to stay on the other side of the red velvet rope. We want to surround ourselves with things and people that give us energy, not sap our energy. But there are going to be things in your life that hold you back from being able to start a business. They're going to be excuses. You're going to sit down one day to do your accounting, and you're going to say, well, you know what? I really got to get this laundry done. I really got to get this uh, oil changed in my car. I've really got to get the lawn mowed. I've got to go pick up the dry cleaning. I've got to do this, and I can't do this other thing for a while because I've got these other things standing in the way. And this is where Chris Ducker's 3 lists come into play. On your worksheet, you have the bottom of the first sheet is divided up into 3 sections, and the first section is labeled things I hate to do. Things I hate to do. If one of the things you hate to do is bookkeeping, put bookkeeping in there. That way you're going to know, boy, you hate bookkeeping. You're never going to do enough bookkeeping to get you excited about bookkeeping. The same thing goes for inventory control or shipping and receiving or marketing. But what else could go in that list? The same types of things in your personal life need to go in that list. You only have a finite amount of time. And if the things that have to get done in your personal life are preventing you from helping you in your business, then we need to move those aside. So if you hate doing laundry, if you hate mowing the lawn, if you hate changing the oil in your car, if you hate cleaning the house, listen, this is why I had kids. Remember, child labor is acceptable if they're your own kids. Listen. We use this as a teaching mechanism for them, right? We teach them responsibility. We want them to learn how to iron their own clothes. And one of the rules in our house is, if you are old enough to iron, then you iron your clothes. You're not going to stand around and wait for somebody else to do it. So if there are things that you hate to do, look, you can read 75 books on procrastination. Why do we put things aside and not do the things that we have in front of us? Well, they all come down, all these 75 books are going to come down to one reason. I don't want to do it. If it's something that I hate to do, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off until I just can't put it off anymore. Now, there was a Russian psychologist. Her name was Zygarnik. And Zygarnik came up with what we now know as the Zygarnik effect. The Zygarnik effect says that if I put something off that I know I need to do, it's going to eat into my brain and it's going to make me less productive. So if it's the did I leave the stove on question, right? You get to work and you think, did I unplug the iron? Did I turn off the stove? Even if you turned off the stove all day long, you can't get your work done because you're thinking about, I need to go home and turn off the stove. I need to check the stove. I need to call somebody to go check the stove. And the stove becomes your thoughts. That's the Zygarnik effect. The same thing happens when we have to get the oil changed. Or, hey, in North Carolina, we have it's a relatively new thing. They're closing down the DMV offices, and if you want to renew your license plate, you do that over the internet. You go online, and they send you the tag or the sticker. Once a year, they do that. Well, they remind you and remind you and remind you that you have to do this. But if you're sitting around thinking, oh, it's the 31st of the month and I don't have my new sticker yet, you're not going to be very productive on the 31st of the month because the Zygarnik effect is eating at your brain. So if there are things you hate to do, put them in that list. Now, there might be things that you very much enjoy doing, things that you are very good at, but things that you should not do. That's going to go in the center list. Things I can do but shouldn't. I'll give you an example. I've designed a few websites. If you go to the Sequoia Fund website, you'll see that it's not a beautiful website. In fact, we're having a professional redesign our website as we speak because I want something that looks nicer. I didn't design a very nice looking website, but we needed a website that was very driven by forms and I need this, so I'm going to click here. I need that, so I'm going to click there. The site was driven by what do people want when they come to our website? Let's give them that, and bare bones, nothing else. Boom, that's it. Can I design a website? Yes, I can. Should I? Absolutely not. Can I change the oil in my car? You betcha. Should I? No. That's probably not the best use of my time. And here's why. If I start a small business, and in that business, as long as I'm working in that business, I can make, let's say, $200 an hour for every hour I work in my business. When I stop to change the oil in my car, something that I could pay, I don't know, 35 bucks to 75 bucks for, depending on what needs to be done, and depending on who I have do it, um, I'm losing money. If I stop making $200 in my business to pay myself $35 to change my oil, I am a nickel holding up a dollar. And that's what happens with a lot of small business owners is we've got this do-it-yourself mindset that's been ingrained in us. And, oh, everything out there is designed to do it yourself. I am going to give you some DIY tools today. I'm going to give you that because I know that there are going to be some things you just want to do on your own, and that's fine. Just understand that there are going to be things in your business and in your personal life that you can absolutely do, but you shouldn't. If it takes you 2 hours to wash your car on a Saturday, and you could be working in your business for 2 hours earning money, drive your car through a car wash. Is it going to be done exactly the way you want it done? No. It's not going to be perfect. If you let your 12-year-old mow the grass, is it going to be done exactly the way you would do it? No. If you let your teenager pressure wash your driveway, is it going to be done exactly the way you want it done? Probably not. But it's going to be done. And you didn't have to do it. And you've taught somebody else how to do it, and they can get better and better and better so that eventually it will be done the way you want it done. Things I hate to do in the first column. Things that I can do but shouldn't in that second column. We do this because we want to be spending all our time in the third column. Things only I can do. Things only I can do. If I am a massage therapist, I can't really hire that. I can hire out my accounting. I can hire out my marketing, my search engine optimization, my social media uh, marketing, all of those things. I can hire out my cleaning. I can hire out a lot of things. I can't hire out the massage therapy because I'm licensed and that's what I do. Now, if I'm a house painter, I can hire other painters to paint. So what are the things that only I can do? Maybe only I want to be estimating those jobs. Maybe only I want to be hiring employees. Maybe only I need to be developing the strategy to grow the company. So painting is not in that list. Painting would go in the things I can do but shouldn't. If I'm a car mechanic, I can work on the cars, but if I start working on all the cars and if I have to have a say in every mechanical issue that comes into the shop, I'm not going to be doing a very effective job running the business. This is the difference between running or working in your business and working on your business. From here on out, everything I talk about is going to be working on the business, not working in it. If you're working in it, you've basically bought yourself a job. Nothing wrong with that, but we have to be real. We have to understand that's where we are. It's harder to scale and grow a business where you are working in the business. I'm going to give you an example. My grandfather at one time was the oldest working barber in North Carolina. He retired when he was 85 years old. And he only retired when he was 85 for two reasons. My grandmother made him, and he was completely blind. No joke. He had these old men who had been getting their hair cut for 50 years in the same chair, and they would come in and he would cut their hair, and he would do it by the shape of their head, and he would touch their head, and he would say, "That feels like a good haircut." And they were fine with it. They couldn't see either. He had another barber chair in the shop. And that was my grandmother's throne. She would sit in that barber chair every day, read the newspaper, and hold court with all the folks who would come in and just want to sit down and shoot the breeze. And talking was a big part of their day. They just enjoyed talking, especially the last 20 or so years. So it wasn't really about making money, but he worked in the business. He was cut hair every day. He didn't have time to hire another barber. He didn't have time to um, to run the business. He just basically winged it for 65 years. So if you spend your time in that third column, you're going to be able to grow your business. If you spend your time in those first two columns, you are going to work in the business, but you'll never, ever be able to work on your business. Well, Russ, I want to start a business because I'm really good at this hobby. I have this hobby that I've been doing for years, and I know that my customers are just like me. They're easy to find. Yes, that's a benefit of taking a hobby and turning it into a business. But before you do that, I'm going to say stop. Hold it right there. Having a hobby is great. Turning it into a business is something altogether different. If you love baking pies and your neighbors and people at your church and people at your kids' school and people at work love your pies, baking pies, for heaven's sake, bake pies and enjoy baking pies. As soon as you turn that into a business, the joy that you get out of baking pies is going to go away pretty quickly because you're going to be stuck baking pies. You're either going to be stuck baking pies and you're going to be making no money and you're going to be miserable, or you're going to be managing other people who bake the pies. At any rate, no matter what, you're not enjoying baking pies as a hobby anymore. So you either need to find something else to do so that you can maintain this hobby and enjoy this hobby as a way to take you away from stress of other things. Your hobby is something you enjoy. It gets you out of reality. Hey, the 4 hours or so that I spend on a golf course takes me away from everything. When I go fishing, when I go hang out with my family, there are things that I do that I love to do that just take me away from the reality of the day-to-day world. If that became my day-to-day, I would never be able, if I tried to make money playing golf, number one, I would starve to death. I'm a pretty mediocre golfer, but I would never look at golf the same way. So we either need to think about something that we can do that's different from our hobby so that we can maintain our hobby, or if we dive in and we say, I'm going to turn this hobby into a business, you need another hobby. Find another hobby. I can't say it any other way because there's got to be something that takes you away from that. Get your mind off of that and helps you release the stress a different way, because your hobby will cease to do that once you turn it into a business. So we've got a couple of lists here started. One is our why. Another are the things that we hate to do, things that I can do but shouldn't, things that only we could do. Those are good lists. Those are great ways to start taking inventory on ourselves. What are we good at? Well, we need to take a complete inventory of ourselves. And I found this graphic. I like this little graphic because it just shows a variety of different jobs. And most of us have worked more than one job. Most of us have worked different types of jobs. Your first job may have been babysitting, dog walking, cleaning out gutters, washing windows, mowing lawns, raking leaves. It may have been bagging groceries at a grocery store. It may have been working at a retail establishment in town. There are a lot of different things that we do that give us skills we can carry with us, and we carry with us today, but we never think about them. I want you to really take inventory for a moment. What are some of the things you learned on your very first job? Your very first job that have stuck with you? I'll give an example. So in North Carolina, right now, we've got some pretty nasty weather. I think most folks on the East Coast are experiencing some of the same things. Apparently, the jet stream decided to drop down to about 5,000 feet and just blow everything away for a couple of days. And I remember as a young man, I had to go to work in a snowstorm. In the mountains of North Carolina, we often get snow when nobody else does. And I was very proud of myself for getting to work in this snowstorm. I had a two-wheel drive, a little front-wheel drive car, and I fought like crazy to get to work, and I was only 10 minutes late. And I walked in and I was so proud, letting my boss know I'd finally made it. And he looked at me and he said, "You're late." I said, "Yeah, but it's snowing outside. Have you seen the weather?" He said, "Leave earlier." And he was right. If I had left 10 minutes earlier, I would have been on time. So those are little things that stick with us, little things that I've carried throughout every job I've ever had. What are some of those things? Well, if you take a look at the next page of your worksheet, the title here is Chasing My Dream. What am I really good at? There's a good chance that you are excellent at something. You've mastered something. You have gotten to be really, really good at a task, at an outcome, at something that you do that others can't do. What is that? What are you really good at? One of the ways to find out what you're really good at is, what are people asking you for? Do people come up to you in the diner on Saturday morning and say, "Hey, um, I want to talk to you about how you did this, about how you paid off all your debt. Um, I want you to help my son plan his college education. I want you to help my daughter plan her finances. She's thinking about buying her first house, and we really look up to you in the way you handled your money." Um, I saw that barn that you built. I really would like to build one of those. I want to talk to you about that. If you are just a few steps ahead of everyone else, you are the expert. If people are asking you for your expertise on something, if they're asking your opinion, if they value your outlook or your opinion on something, in their mind, you are their go-to. You are their resource. You are the expert. If you overcame a muscle pull faster than anybody else, and you went back to running, and people say, "Hey, how did you get back that fast?" I can't get over a muscle pull that fast. Okay, well, now you have something you can teach other people. What are you really good at? What is something you would love to do every day for the rest of your life? And I think is equally important, what is something I don't have to train for or use someone else's system? Now, obviously, if you're going to start a McDonald's, you want to buy into McDonald's. You want to do McDonald's the way McDonald's says to do McDonald's. You don't want to put up the golden arches and then try to go out there and figure out a better way to make a Big Mac. They don't really want that. They want you to do it the McDonald's way. Well, that's not what we're talking about here. Remember, we're talking about businesses I can start this weekend. And we're talking about businesses that you can lean on your own skill, expertise, and understanding. What are things that you can do that you don't have to ask anybody else for advice on? You've got this figured out. And then ask yourself, what do I do? What do I really do? What results do I achieve? I don't just talk to people about money. I help them improve their financial condition. I help them live a less stressful life when they think about money. I don't just fix people's cars. I have a little shade tree mechanic uh, shop out back of my garage, and the neighbors bring their cars over. I'm not just working on their cars. I'm giving them peace of mind. I'm letting them know that their kid can drive halfway across the state and not worry about that car breaking down. What are the results you help people achieve? What can you achieve for customers if this were a business? In other words, what problem in the world can you solve? And how will they benefit by doing business with you? We come across people all the time at Sequoia Fund who say, "Well, I want to do something completely different. Nobody's ever done this before." Okay, well, what do you want to do? "I want to start a restaurant." All right, well, what kind of restaurant do you want to start? I want to do burgers and fries and shakes. And we say, what? You want You're not the first person to do burgers, fries, and shakes. Oh, yeah, but I'm going to do the best burgers, fries, and shakes. Okay, listen, there are two ways to compete. Two ways to compete in the world. One, you differentiate. You're different from everybody else. You pursue a different market. You tackle problems in a different way. The other way to compete is to just price lower than everybody else and race to the bottom. And if you're doing the same thing everybody else is doing, it's a race to the bottom. So on this little graphic right here, I want to give you an example of somebody who said, what do I really do? What results can I achieve? What problem can I solve? What are we really good at? What is something I want to do the rest of my life? And I don't need anybody else's training to do this. And how will people benefit from me? This is a business that answered all of these questions the right way. And it's the guy at the top of the stairs with the paint roller. There's a business that has since been bought by the folks who I want to say they got bought out by the 1-800-GOT-JUNK folks. But this guy woke up one day and he said, what are we really good at? We're really good at painting houses. What's something I want to do every day of the rest of my life? I want to paint houses. I want to make houses look better. I want to improve people's property value. I want to make them happier in their homes. What's something I don't have to train for or use somebody else's system for? Well, I want to create a painting system that nobody else is doing right now. And what results can I achieve? I'm gonna make people so happy to have their house painted. It's not going to be a painful, weeks-long situation. They're not going to be put out of their house and have to stay in a hotel while we empty their house out and work on their house. And what benefit are they going to receive from doing business with us? They're going to have their house painted, get this, in a day. So this painter took this concept and he says, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to measure this house, I'm going to estimate this house. And no matter how large it is or how small it is, I'm going to pick the right crew. We're going to pick the right amount of paint, the right kind of paint. We're going to be a premium price. We're going to charge more than everybody else. We're not charging by the hour, because if we charge by the hour, we're going to go broke. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, look, homeowner, we're going to paint your home, but we're going to do it differently from anybody else. We're going to schedule a day when you're going to leave in the morning. We're going to come in with a team. We're going to just cover your house with people and with tarps and everything else. And by the time you get home that evening, your house is going to be painted and you won't have to see us again. Not a 2-day, not a 2-week process. We're going to get this done in a day. So he took inventory of what he could do and he decided to do something very, very different. Well, maybe we can't all think like that. I think maybe we can. You see, we all have the same resources available to us. And the same 4 resources. We have time, energy, money, and ego. Let's talk about those for a little bit. You'll notice that we have these in varying degrees. Maybe I have more energy than I have money. Maybe I have more ego than I have time. Well, what does this mean? We all have the same amount of time. And if I had $1 for every time somebody said, well, I don't have time for that. Okay, well, why don't you have time for it? Well, I'm in the middle of my 3rd go round with Seinfeld reruns. I'm watching Seinfeld for the 3rd time. Really? That's more important than improving yourself, improving your life, improving your business, improving your family? You're going to say that you've got to watch Seinfeld to the point where you can say the words along with the words on the screen? You can just mimic the actors? I don't think that's all that important. We all have the same amount of time. The question is, what are we doing with our time? And we always encourage people to take a realistic inventory of our time. Some people say, well, I work 8 hours a day, and that leaves me 16 hours a day to work on my business. No, it doesn't. You still have to sleep. If you have kids, you have to feed them, you have to bathe them, you have to go to ball games, you have to do driving lessons, you have to help them with homework, and eventually you've got to use the bathroom and eat and sleep yourself. So your time is finite. Take a realistic look at how much you have. How much energy do you have? Well, energy sometimes correlates with the amount of time you have. You may have lots of energy, but you realize I can't stay up all night working on this. I still have to get up in the morning, so I have to sacrifice my energy for sleep. I have to go to bed at some point. You may not have as much money as you want, but what kind of money do you have? What kind of money do you have access to? And what can you do with the amount of money you have? And then ego. Ego is shorthand for what I call gotta wanna. It's the gotta wanna. It's the belief in yourself and the belief that you can do this. If you have a high level of ego in the beginning, chances are that's going to be a benefit for you. Ego is going to drive you. You know, I want to compete with myself. I want to prove that I can do this. I want to do this. Yes, that's great. As businesses mature, sometimes owner ego gets in the way. I know everything. I don't need anybody's help. I don't need anybody to tell me anything. I've got this all figured out. So we have to balance ego. Well, the reality is that as a business owner, you have to balance all four of those resources. If you have more money than you have time, hire something out. If you have more time than you have money, well, maybe it's a DIY situation. Do it yourself. If you have more time than you have ego, use your time to learn. Use your time to improve your skills. That boosts your ego. Using your time to improve your skills, improve your confidence, gain confidence in what you're doing, levels up your ego. Your job is to balance all of these. And we all do these in different ways, but we all have different entrepreneurial styles. How we do this is going to depend on our entrepreneurial style and where we want to put that energy. Well, there are, according to Michael Gerber, author of The E-Myth, there are three different types of people out there. There's the dreamers. They're the people who, I think every company needs a dreamer. Every business needs and at the Sequoia Fund, that role falls to me. I'm the dreamer. I'm always pushing forward. Let's go in a new territory. Let's go down this road we've never been down before. Let's try this. Let's do this. Let's see if this works. Let's throw this spaghetti against the wall, see if it looks like a Picasso. You know, these are the kinds of things that a dreamer does. A dreamer is always kind of pushing into new areas, new products, new services. Let's try this. Let's see if people need this. You got to have that. Because if you're just doing burgers, fries, and shakes, you're going to get eaten alive by people who've been doing burgers, fries, and shakes for over 50 years. The technician is the person who likes to do the work. You know, if I want to own an ice cream shop so I can stand behind the counter and serve ice cream and talk to people and watch the smiles, that's a technician. If I want to own an auto repair shop so that I can work on the cars, I'm not running the business, but I'm a technician. As a technician, as that barber who stands behind the chair for 65 years, I'm going to limit myself in what I can do. This is buying a job. There are also, but we have to have technicians. We have to have somebody who gets the work done and gets the work done right. Now, there are also managers out there. Somebody has to be the manager. Somebody has to be the one who says, this is what we have to do this week. This is our goal. Did we meet our goal? Have we exceeded our goal? Do we need to set new goals? Do we need to make adjustments? How are we doing? Is the work getting done? Is it getting done right? We need all three of these things, but it's very rare that we have an equal overlap. It's very rare that we have one person who is equal parts, all three of these: dreamer, technician, and manager. So we have to determine where are we and what do we need more of. If I am a dreamer and a manager, I'm going to need somebody to do the work. I need to go hire a technician or some technicians. If I am a technician and a manager, there's a very good chance that I could stagnate the business. I need to go out and find a dreamer to help push us forward. The same thing goes for the dreamer technician. I'm dreaming of this business where I can just work and work and work, but I'm not managing my money very well. I'm not managing my customers, my throughput very well. I need somebody to do that for me. So on your worksheet, you have a section titled A Realistic Look at Where I Am, with one being I'm almost not this at all. I believe that there is nobody is a zero, by the way. There's not a zero on here, but because I believe everybody has a little bit of a dreamer. Everybody has a little bit of each one of these in us. But 1 is the lowest level, and 10 is this is all I am. Go ahead and rank yourself 1 to 10 on this scale: dreamer, manager, and technician. This is going to help you determine how you need to supplement your team. Maybe you're not hiring somebody, but maybe you are contracting with somebody. Maybe you're going to go hire an accountant to help you out once or twice a month, handle your taxes, those kinds of things. So go ahead and take a moment, rank yourself. And then we're going to take a look at 3 different types of circles. But while you're ranking yourself, I want you to also rank your resources. Down there at the bottom of the page, I want you to rank your resources. How much time do you realistically have? If you have almost no time to yourself, hey, that's going to be a 1 or a 2, maybe a 3. If you have all the time in the world, that's going to be a 10. Where are you on the energy scale? How about your money, your ego? How confident are you in this thing that you've been thinking about doing? Or in your confidence to even start a business of any kind? Maybe you haven't yet decided what you want to do. Go ahead and rank yourself, and nobody's going to look at this. We're not going to ask you to share this. You're not going to have to tell anybody about this. This is absolutely just for you, so that you have a good understanding of where you are and what you need to move forward. I said it before, I'm going to say it at least one more time. This is the best time in history to start a business. Yes, inflation is high. It's coming down a little bit, still not where we want it to be. There's an indicator this morning that maybe our jobs report from 2023 was overestimated by almost 450,000 jobs. That seemed like a clerical error. They'll get that rectified anyway. Bank loans are still hard to get. Native CDFIs are still out here lending money. Come see us. If you've got a native CDFI in your tribe, that's probably going to be your first stop these days instead of the last stop. So yeah, things are still tough, but there are a lot of positives to trying to start a business in 2024. Number 1 is information. We have access to more information out there than ever before. We have technology that really came into its own during COVID. I don't want to use COVID as the springboard, but it just was. I mean, there are some technologies that really made the leap because of COVID and have led the way ever since. And access to information, access to technology, access to markets, access to customers, access to products, access to services. It's just the best time in the world. And so let's talk about a few of these tools. And then in the next section of your worksheet here, you see at the bottom says, what tools will I need for my business? Here's where you're going to jump in and start thinking about the types of tools that you might need for your own business. Let's talk about information first. There are free sources of information, paid sources of information. Folks, I know people who are now making 6-figure incomes in coding and software development because when they were laid off, they watched every YouTube video on Python or all these other different types of coding languages. They watched every video they could to learn how to do it, and they went out there and had marketable skills. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and it is owned, interestingly enough, by the first largest search engine in the world, which is Google. But But YouTube is a fantastic place to level up your ego, your skills, your confidence about things. Yes, I see somebody doing this, I can do this. Wow, these people, everybody I see refurbishing cast iron pans. I could do this better. I like what they're doing, but I could do this better. It really is going to give you a jolt of confidence. It's also going to give you a lot of education. Let's say that you've been a builder for years. You've been a carpenter. You want to start uh, your own company, but you feel maybe like your measurement skills are a little bit lacking. You want to upgrade your geometry skills, your measurement skills, so that you can build better. You can do better work. Hey, Khan Academy has some free courses out there. Yes, it's designed for kids and for school projects and things like that. But Khan Academy has grown so much in the last decade that if I wanted to learn how to make better measurements and better cuts, I'd probably look at Khan Academy as one of my sources. MIT is now providing all of their courses in open courseware, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. If you want to learn something, folks, you can go to college without ever having to step foot in a university. Code Academy, same thing. Code Academy is going to help you if you want to learn how to code, if you want to learn how to design, if you want to learn graphics or AI or how to design apps, anything like that. Code Academy is going to be a great source for you. Now, Udemy could be on the paid side as well. They're I would say probably mostly on the paid side, but there are some free things. So I put Udemy over here. Udemy is a source for specific courses that have a very specific time frame. If you want to learn public speaking, if you want to learn a very specific skill, you can go to Udemy and learn how to do this. If you want to learn how to improve the search engine optimization of your website, for example, if you want to learn how to do Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising, sponsored posts on social media, if you want to learn how to do those things, hey, Udemy is going to have courses for you. You can go right in there, pay anywhere from 20 to 40 to 100, $200. You pick the one that works for you, and it's going to teach you this stuff. Google has given us 3 learning opportunities here that are just unreal. Anything that you can do on Google with, say, Google advertising, Google AdWords, SEO optimization, anything that you want to learn how to do, Google My Business marketing, anything like that. Google Skill Shop, Grow with Google, and Google Digital Garage will give you the skills you need to master using the #1 search engine in the world to grow your business. If you have an Airbnb and you're advertising your business through Verbo, through Airbnb, something like that, well, you may want to start getting your own bookings. Well, how do I do that? How do I build a website that generates just as many bookings for me as I get through Airbnb? Well, there are a lot of benefits of going through Airbnb, but maybe I don't want Airbnb taking part of my money. I don't want them taking a cut of the profit. I want to go directly to my customer. Well, these Google courses are going to teach you how to do that. You also have paid courses. This is where the no excuses bit comes in. When we have sources like Coursera, Masterclass, and Skillshare, you can learn almost anything short of heart surgery, brain surgery. You can learn a lot of different things to help grow your business online. The question is, are you willing to invest the time, the energy, and the money, and yes, your ego, to do some of these things? Part of learning and growing is to say, I don't know everything. I want to learn more. Well, here are some excellent alternatives for you to turn to and learn about starting a business. Technology is where it starts to get fun because, oh my goodness, there's more technology than I could ever put on a slide or 10 slides. But this is my list of slides. These are tech platforms that I use on a pretty consistent basis. And I want to talk to you about these because these platforms will help you become a big business without having to be big. You will look big, but you don't have to get big. They will help you solve problems. They will help you access your customers. They will help you get to um, bookings. They will help fill your calendar. They will help you do a lot of things. And they will even help you access expertise that you can contract with. So let's start with Chat GPT and Google Bard. These are AI platforms, and go in the chat and just give me a yes if you've played with either or both of these AI platforms, Chat GPT and Google Bard. Maybe you've tried out Microsoft's new Copilot or Google's Gemini or something else like that. Chat GPT and Google Bard give you a little different answer depending on the type of question you're asking. I use them for different things. I use the free Chat GPT 3.5. I also have the paid Chat GPT 4.0. Use them for different things as well. But if I want them to proofread an agreement, maybe I've crafted a letter that I want to send out and I want to make sure the tone is right. I can load that letter into AI and I can say, proofread this for tone. Make sure that the tone is right. Make sure my grammar is correct. Make sure my punctuation is correct. It'll proofread. I don't want it creating new content. We're not there yet. A lot of people are trying that, but if your idea is that I want to start creating books in AI and turn those into books and sell those on Amazon through the Kindle marketplace, well, Amazon is not going to let you do that. As of about 2 weeks ago, they started cracking down on AI generated content. These need to be your own words. But there is a huge assistance value in ChatGPT, Google Bard, and even Microsoft Bing. Yeah, we used to think of Bing as the little sibling to Google Chrome. No, Microsoft Bing now has ChatGPT built in. That's right, ChatGPT and DALL-E 3, which is an image generator, is built into Microsoft Bing. You can use that as an AI assistant now. And you don't have to pay for it. Canva is one of our favorite tools at Sequoia Fund. We probably use this. Somebody is using it on a daily basis. If I used it today, somebody else will be using it tomorrow. We pay for the pro version. There is a free version of Canva, which is what we call the poor man's Photoshop. It allows you to do graphic design. It allows you to create branded templates for your social media, for your Facebook posts, for your Instagram posts, for your Twitter posts, X, whatever. Any kind of social media that you're using, you want everything to look consistent. You can create these templates in Canva. You just drop your information directly into those templates. They're already pre-sized. They've got your colors in there. The colors that you want to use may be colors that correspond to your logo. With the Native Learning Center here, we've got the yellow, the red, the black, and the white. You can create these as a brand. And it makes things so much easier. You can create brochures, flyers, handouts. The slideshow that you're seeing here was created in Canva. I don't use PowerPoint anymore, because the flexibility that I get through Canva is so much greater. I can use Canva to create videos within my PowerPoint slides. I can download them as PowerPoint. I can download them as PDF. I can use Canva to create moving images or GIFs, whatever, that adds some flair to the presentation. Now, we're using Adobe Connect to do this. Most people today use Zoom to do webinars, online meetings, classrooms, classes, all kinds of things. If you need to meet with individuals or groups virtually, Zoom is most people's go-to these days. And yes, Zoom got a bad rap at the beginning of the pandemic. And about June of 2020, we started to see news story after news story of what were called Zoom bombs. People would hack into Zoom meetings and they would run around naked and they would do obscene things or inappropriate things just to disrupt the meeting. And Zoom bulked up their security. Zoom decided we can figure out a way to prevent this. And since then, they've done a great job making sure their platform is stable, easy to use, flexible, and secure. So I highly recommend Zoom if you're going to be doing anything with people virtually. Thinkific. We did a lot of research. We have some online courses. We have one. It's an auto buying course. How to buy your car. What are some smart things you want to do before you buy your car, and as you negotiate for your car. We've got one on financial literacy. We use the Thinkific platform. Thinkific is something called an LMS, Learning Management System, and it's a learning management system. It gives us the ability to put courses on there. We can put videos, we can put text, we can put quizzes, tests, and once people complete that, then we move them on to the next step in the application process or whatever it is we're doing. Thinkific also gives you the ability, if you have a course, let's say that you make you cook a steak better than anybody else, and you're going to teach people how to cook steak, and you want to put a course out there on how to cook a steak or rebuild a transmission or whatever it is, how to meditate, whatever you want to put out there, you can put it on Thinkific and you can actually charge for it. Thinkific gives you a way to monetize your course, and people can pay you for that. Now, I put iPhone on here not only because I use an iPhone and I'm completely addicted. I bought into that cult years ago and have never left. But iPhone, I don't know if you saw the news story yesterday, I think, that when that emergency door, that plug blew out of the Alaska Airlines, somebody's phone flew out that gaping hole and it fell 16,000 feet, and it works. It's not a scratch on it. It's pretty tough. But I know folks who are running successful businesses and they don't use a computer. Everything they do is on an iPhone. They use it for their bookkeeping. They use it for their marketing. They use it for photos. They use it for client communications, everything, appointment setting, you name it. Everything is on the iPhone. ConvertKit and MailChimp. These are two of my favorite ways to create email marketing campaigns. If you are going to email customers, you need to be using one of these, or you need to be using something like Constant Contact, iContact. There are dozens of other options out there. These are just my two favorites. You need to be using something like this because their job is to get you through to the inbox. Google, Gmail, and Yahoo Mail have just come out with new safeguards. They are going to be shutting people down who are just using a Gmail account, a Hotmail account, a Yahoo account to do advertising for your business. If you're sending out sales emails for your business and you're not using a professional platform like ConvertKit or MailChimp, you are not going to get through. In fact, you do this enough, they could shut your email down completely. They could just deplatform you, as it's called these days. They'll take your email out of service. Dropbox is a great way to create, store, share files. And Dropbox now has a little known feature that if you're paying for Dropbox storage, you can use Dropbox to share documents that need to be signed virtually. It's a big savings over something like DocuSign. So if you need to send contracts, agreements, anything like that to somebody else and have them sign it electronically in a secure way, you can use Dropbox to do that. And then Dropbox will drop that signed document right back into a finished folder, so you don't have to touch it again. You don't have to move it and refile it. Wufoo. Wufoo has an interesting story. This is a platform we've been using for years at Sequoia Fund to create all of our online forms, registration forms, you name it. We do forms where people can pay us directly through the form for some of our classes and things like that. Or we can just use it for a survey. Sometimes I'll use it to send out a form to our board members asking them what they want for lunch at the next board meeting. You can use it for anything and everything. They do have a free version, and then they have different levels that you can pay for to get more out of them. But Wufoo was started by folks who couldn't come up with the name of the company, and they decided that they were big fans of Wu-Tang Clan and Foo Fighters. So they just mashed those two together, called the company Wufoo. But it's a fantastic forms development platform. You can use Google Forms or things like that, but I think Wufoo just is so much more flexible. If you get to the point where you need something really fancy schmancy, Wufoo is it. Google Calendar. Google Calendar will help you manage people, will help you manage your time. It will help you control your time. But there are two tools here that I'm going to recommend to you that you use in conjunction with your Google Calendar. And you can use these with Outlook as well. But most people are starting a business. Google is free. It's there. It's just easy to use. You don't have to pay for it. Calendly gives people access to your calendar. So if you need to set appointments, if you are a hair designer, a massage therapist, if you're a meditation specialist, if you do yoga, whatever it is, and you need to get people on your calendar, you can use Calendly, and then I can go to your calendar and say, okay, I see that you have 3 to 4 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and click that. I'm going to take that slot. Boom. Now you know who's going to be your appointment from 1 hour to the next. And it populates both calendars, and it's done. Setmore, we use Setmore at Sequoia Fund. We love Setmore. We're getting ready to move away from it for a variety of reasons. None of them include we don't love it, because we absolutely love Setmore. Setmore, if let's say that you have a business where you need to get people on your calendar, but you want to make sure that they show up. Well, Setmore allows you to let people book certain times on your calendar for different types of events, different types of tasks, or different types of projects, and they can pay you. So if you want to make sure they show up, they're going to pay you in advance for that hour of your time. If you are a psychologist, if you're giving advice, financial advice, whatever it is, they're going to pay you for that time when they book it. Now they're going to show up, or you're going to get paid anyway. Content at Scale has a website. I went ahead and put the whole website on here. If you are curious as to whether something was generated by AI, maybe the wording looks a little weird, you can cut and paste that into Content at Scale. Their content detector will tell you if that was computer generated. I just find that helpful, especially if somebody is sending you a contract, if somebody's sending you an agreement or something like that. You want to make sure that, hey, is this the real deal? Pirate Ship is what we use to ship and create labels. You can use other types. There are dozens of other platforms out there to help you create labels and manage your shipping and track shipments and things like that. But if you're going to start a business where you have to communicate with people through the mail or through UPS or FedEx, you need something like this to give you some professional labels, and it makes it very easy to track. There are hundreds and hundreds of print-on-demand services. We could spend all day actually talking about the print-on-demand industry, but let's say you're going to make T-shirts. Let's say you're going to make jewelry. You're going to make book bags. You're going to do something, or you're going to make books. You're going to make books, workbooks, coloring books, anything like that where you want to sell it before you make it. Print-on-demand services are the way to go. And you can research these. You can actually go just look up print-on-demand, best print-on-demand services 2024, print-on-demand services reviews 2024, T-shirt print-on-demand services reviews, those kinds of things. And that's going to get you some good information on what services to use, what people recommend, and so forth. Now, Fiverr and Upwork. These are dating services for skills. We use these occasionally when we need something done and we can't find it locally, or if we can't find somebody who's available to do it. Maybe we need something done to our website that it would take us 3 hours to do. It's going to take a pro 5 minutes, but we just can't find anybody who's got the time to do it today. I can go to Fiverr and I can have somebody do that. They'll knock it out for 10 or 15 bucks, maybe 50 bucks for some tasks. Upwork's the same way. I'm going to put out there the job that I need done, and then people are going to bid on that. So again, it's a dating service for people who have skills. It's not only a great way to access people who can do things for you. If you have skills, it's a great way to connect with new audiences, new markets, and sell your skills online. I was getting on a plane last year, and I happened to walk past one of the flight attendants who was talking to the other flight, as they do in the front of the plane as everybody's boarding. And he said, I need to take 2 weeks off. He said, I've got 2 weeks of vacation. He said, I've got 2,500 gigs on Fiverr that I've got to knock out. I'm thinking 2,500 gigs on Fiverr? What are you still doing on an airplane, man? Get out there and do this full time. So I didn't hear the rest of that conversation. It could have been anything, but it's encouraging. You can use this both as a provider and as a business that just needs services. Now, Access. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Access because this is going to be just a list of things that a lot of you have seen a lot of things on this list. So you're probably going to be very familiar with these. But this is going to give you access to products, access to markets, access to customers, access to eyeballs to help you get in front of people. TeePublic is a way to do this with t-shirts. Gumroad is a way to do this with information products. YouTube, look, there are businesses out there that make money. They make more money on YouTube than they do in the business that they video. It's fantastic. Once you build an audience, you can show people how to juggle. You can make a lot more money on YouTube with your YouTube channel than you can by getting gigs where you have to stand in front of an audience and juggle. But suffice it to say that, and yes, Walmart does have a marketplace these days, very similar to Amazon Marketplace. Target also has a marketplace. I did not put them on there because there's some mixed reviews on Target Marketplace. A lot of people are not really happy with what Target's doing with that. We're going to give it time to mature before it makes it onto this list. PayPal, Zettle, QuickBooks, they all give you the ability to take payments, whether you're standing in front of somebody at a powwow, trade show, festival, or if they're calling you up on the phone and giving your credit card number. Reddit is a way to access trends. Believe it or not, a lot of folks have written Reddit off. Reddit is a great way to get in there and see, what are people talking about? What do people want to do? Maybe people don't want to just talk about painting houses. Maybe they want to talk about, how can I get my house painted in a day? Ooh. Niches make riches, by the way, folks. Niches make riches. And so that's what let's jump into that real quick. The last few minutes we got, here's where we're going to get down to some nitty gritty. I've got these divided up into two different categories: tangible products and intangible services. And some of these can cross over. Some of these are definitely crossovers. They don't have to stay in one category. So don't be writing me nasty letters. Hey, Russ, cleaning something is a service. Yes, it is. But I'm going to tell you why I put it in the tangible products for just a minute. But let's talk about the tangible products. I'm going to go down that list for a second. We're going to create something new. You're going to write something. You're going to do something. You're going to make something. Maybe you make jewelry. Maybe you make baskets. Maybe you make clothing. I've got an employee. I encourage all of our Sequoia Fund employees to start a little side hustle. I think the more we understand about our clients and their businesses, the better we're going to be able to serve them. So a couple of years ago, she started a business making ribbon skirts. And she makes beautiful ribbon skirts. And I know that there are weekends where she'll get her sister and her mom to come over. They'll sew anywhere from 200 to 400 ribbon skirts for retailers. So creating something new is definitely always going to be an option. It's going to sometimes be a time-consuming option. But if you're going to create something, I'm going to just warn you now that you better charge what you're worth. And Faith and I have this conversation about her ribbon skirts all the time, and I think she's doing a great job with that. But we have clients who say, well, I'm only going to charge $30 for this copper gorget. Well, why? Why are you only going to charge 30? Well, it only took me 10 minutes to make it. Yes, it took you 10 minutes to make it, but it took you 30 years to learn how to make it in 10 minutes. We don't want to, as artists or craftspeople, to undercut ourselves just because it's easy for us. If it's easy for us, it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy for the person who's buying it. We are not our customers. So create something new, but charge what you're worth. Organizing something. Why is this intangible products? Well, what are we organizing? If we're organizing closets, if we're organizing finances, if we're organizing garages, if we're organizing someone's home, we're giving them something back. We are giving them a finished, tangible product. We're not providing a service. And this is the key difference. I don't want us to think about, I'm trading dollars for money. I'm trading dollars for time. I'm coming in here. I'm going to do this job. It's going to take me 10 hours and I'm going to get paid this amount of money for it. No. If you are organizing something, you are creating something for people that they haven't had in a while. Maybe you specialize in crime scene restoration. Maybe you specialize in hoarder restoration. Maybe you specialize in college dorm design. Maybe you are, and I'm going to go to kind of the bottom of the list here, designing some. Maybe you are, the big thing this past year, I saw a lot of businesses doing Christmas decorations. We'll come to your house and we'll we'll be your Clark Griswold, and we'll put all the Christmas lights up on your house, and we'll make sure they work, and we'll decorate your home. If you're organizing something for people, you are giving them something tangible, and that finished product is what I want you to be charging for, not the time. Repairing or renewing something. If I had $1 for every Instagram account that I follow that refurbishes and upscales old furniture, I'd probably be pretty rich right now. I love watching people take old furniture, turn it into something new, old cars, turn it into some old houses, old clothing. Repurposing and upscaling are hot right now, and they are not going anywhere as a trend for a long time. People are tired of throwing things away. People are tired of putting things in landfills, and people want retro. There's a hunger out there for something old that has been made new, and people are willing to pay for it. Because as the saying goes, they just don't make them like that anymore. Same thing with organizing. If you are cleaning something, you are giving somebody something back. You're detailing their car. Maybe you are cleaning their lawn equipment. Maybe you are cleaning out their garage, cleaning their garage floor, getting rid of the oil spots and things like that. If you're cleaning something, you're giving people a tangible product. And this is the main reason I want you to put this in this category. We're not trading time for dollars. We're giving them something back. Writing something. If you have and there's an old saying that goes, everybody's got at least one book in them, right? Well, maybe you don't have a book, but maybe you've got a blog post every day or a newsletter every week. Whatever you can do, you can use your brain to create content that people are willing to pay for. In the intangible services section, can we create an experience? There's a teacher in North Carolina right now in the Raleigh area who a couple of years ago during the pandemic started reaching out to her friends and saying, I like to travel. I'd like to plan some travel for you so that when all this is over and you go back to traveling, I can help you have a great experience. Well, her friends knew that she liked to travel. When they ran into her in the grocery store or at school, they would say, hey, how did you book that trip to Rome? How did you book that trip to Istanbul? How did you go to Antarctica? I want you to tell us all about this. Well, they started asking for her experience and her expertise. Now what she does is she says, fill out this form. Give me a profile of you. Tell me about you. Tell me about the people who are going with you, ages, are there any disabilities or anything that we need to know about? What's this complete traveler profile? What are some of the things you like to do? Where are the places you like to go? What's your budget? And when do you want to travel? What she'll do is she'll put together a travel experience, but it's a mystery. They don't know where they're going until a couple of days before. They get a packet in the mail, and it says, here's everything you need to go on this trip. You're still not going to know where you're going until you check in for your flight and you get your boarding pass. It's a mystery, and people love it. I don't know that I'm wired that way, and I know my wife is not wired that way. But she's creating experiences, and people love this. Even if you're not doing mystery experiences, what kind of experience can you create? Maybe you can create a food walk in your town. Maybe you can create a ghost walk or a heritage walk or something where you're taking a heritage tour where you're taking people around and you're showing them places that they may have seen, but maybe didn't think of it this way. Give them some of that experience. Take care of something or someone. Look, we are not getting younger. People are paying money to have their pets looked after, to have their family looked after, their elderly relatives, their children. If you can take care of someone or something, there are companies that are paying money to have people come in and water the plants and change out the plants. If taking care of plants is something you like, you don't have to own a floral shop to be able to do that. So what can you take care of that people will pay you for? And you can take care of something in people's homes. You can take care of something in people's businesses. There are a lot of different ways to look at that. What are you good at taking care of? I'm going to use my mother as a prime example of this. My mother has to have a project. She is almost 80. And if she's not taking care of someone in the family or taking care of something, she feels pretty useless. And we have decided that we're going to get over the fact that she doesn't get enough rest and she pushes too hard and she works too hard. This means a lot to her to be able to do that. So we're going to let her do it. So if that is you, if that describes you to a T, find a way to monetize that. Can you help people reduce stress? Now, boy, that is a broad category. Maybe redesigning their closets helps them reduce stress. Maybe redesigning their wardrobe helps them reduce stress. Maybe meditation. Maybe uncluttering their garage. Maybe just taking care of their lawn. What kinds of things can help people reduce stress? Maybe learning piano helps them reduce stress. Maybe somebody has always had this dream of being able to play guitar. You play guitar really well. Could you teach them how to do that? Now, you're teaching something, but you're also helping them reduce stress. Reducing stress is a broad category, but people are willing to pay to reduce stress. They're willing to pay a lot more to reduce stress than they are willing to pay to avoid stress. It's the same thing we're seeing right now with Wegovy and Ozempic, the two diabetes drugs that are helping people lose weight. It's easier to take that medication and lose weight than it is to go work out and live a stress-free life and try to live healthier. I'm not judging. I'm just saying that this is our society. This is where we are. We will pay more for the painkiller than for the pain avoidance. And when you can help people reduce stress, they are willing to pay a lot of money for that. Can you make people more productive? Productivity became a very hot topic in 2023 as more people started to make their way back to the office. More people started to try to figure out this hybrid work life that we've got going on here. So how do we do that? How can we make people more productive? How can we help people get more out of their day? If you are kind of known as the productivity guru, you've got something that people need. Then that might be paired with something else like organizing or creating something new or writing something. None of these have to live in a bubble. None of these have to live in a vacuum. None of these have to stand alone. You can mix and match a lot of these things. The same thing with teaching something. If you're writing something, chances are you can teach something. If you're designing something, repairing something, chances are you can teach something. If you own an auto repair business, can you do a basic auto maintenance course on the weekends to help teenagers learn how to take care of their cars? Yes, people will pay for that. So yes, I know these are broad categories, but all of the things that we've been talking about fall into one or more of these categories. And these are things that you can do to make money. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but certainly somewhere in this list, there's something that identifies that you identify with, that you say, yeah, I could probably do that. So spend the next couple of minutes talking about the business plan. A lot of people think a business plan is a big, scary research paper kind of thing, and it really isn't. It doesn't have to be. It just answers a few basic questions. Who will sell what? To whom? Where? For how much? And at what cost? Who are you? What makes you the person to be able to do this? What are your skills, your experiences? What's your background, your expertise, your training? What are you going to sell? I'm going to back up for a second because we actually mentioned these things, but we didn't delve into them. Don't talk about what you sell. Don't talk about cleaning out closets and organizing garages and walking dogs. What are you selling? You're giving people back their time. You're giving people back their space. So think about what you sell in terms of the problem you solve and the good feeling you create. If you can talk about what you do in those two terms, that's a home run, folks. To whom? To whom? Everybody is not your customer. If you can paint houses, can you paint houses in a day? Can you paint houses? Can you paint multi-million-dollar houses in a day? Can you paint multi-million-dollar houses that are not primary residences in a day? Dig down, dig deep, niche down. Who is it you're going to be charging to do this? This is why an arthroscopic surgeon who operates on pro athletes makes more than your family doctor. They have the same training up to a point, but that arthroscopic surgeon who's going to be fixing knees and elbows and shoulders makes a lot more money, and they do a lot less of the work. They don't see flues and splinters and scraped knees. How much? Where and for how much? Where are you going to do this? Is this online? Is this at a live event? How much are you going to charge, and what does it cost you to do this? This business plan template that I've given you is going to help you walk through those questions. It's going to help you answer them, not specifically the way you're seeing them here, but it's going to give you a business plan that you can use to start your business this weekend. Folks, I've enjoyed presenting this information to you. I know that we were giving you all of this is like drinking through a fire hose, but I'm going to turn this back over to Awista because she's got some important information for you. And I hope to see you next time we do this. And thank you again to the Native Learning Center.
Thank you, Russ. You did an incredible job, as always. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and launch today's survey. Today's survey does greatly help Russ and the Native Learning Center know what you liked about today's webinar, what you would like to know more of, and anything that you would like to learn in the future. It is anonymous, so if you could please take the time, we'd greatly appreciate it. Our next webinar is going to be January 10th. It is HUD Website Review 2023, Navigating Code Talk and Other Tribal Housing Websites, presented by Marie Bonville, Tribal Housing and Education Consultant. As always, registration is free. It will be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 10 a.m. Alaska time. Like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the webinar, this webinar is being recorded, and so this webinar is being recorded, and you can find it on our website at www.Native Learning Center under the Recorded Cathedra webinar tab. You can find this recording and any of our other recordings on there for up to 2 years. If you have any issues finding that recording, please go ahead and email me, and I'd be more than happy to help you find the correct link. Check out our upcoming events on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We also have a podcast called Hopathega Native American Podcast, and you can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and Simplecast. Thank you once again for joining us today, and thank you, Russ. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.